another series win. I mean, this is incredible. They just don't drop series anymore. Heading into Cleveland, taking care of business, 24-16 on the campaign. They made us wait. Sunday Night Baseball, it wasn't a 1 o'clocker. It wasn't a Mother's Day afternoon tilt. They made us go all the way to 7 o'clock, and then it's a one-run game for so long until Schwarber does his thing again to give us some separation. But the point is, we waited till about, 9 o'clock to get the 2 dubs in this series? Well, it was worth it. I wanted to see this team perform better on the road. That's exactly what they showed me throughout these last couple of opponents. I'm riding the high right now. I'm feeling lovely thinking about this gorgeous baseball team right now. So here's my question as we start this week off. Your biggest takeaway from the series with the Guardians. What stood out to you? 215-592-9494. Let me talk through what I saw. I got to start with this. I am really appreciating what they do against some of these good teams on the road when they drop game 1. Because when you date back to Wrigley, which started the streak that they're on, they failed miserably in game 1, and then they were able to take a deep breath, settle back in, and attack accordingly in games 2 and 3, and that really did put this team into this outstanding gear that they have kicked themselves into. And after you win all these series in a row and you face Cleveland, a good team with a good record, and you lose game 1, it's easy to think, well, we've been doing our job for so long, we're bound to have a hiccup. We're bound to have an uh-oh. But Wheels and Ranger and Kyle and even Bryce, these guys were delivering late. 8th inning, when you need to grab insurance and separation. Boom. So the fact that you can come together after losing game 1 and still accomplishing the goal away from CBP, where your record wasn't really that sensational prior to this nice run they're on. I got to love it. And truth be told, it was a little sour for me in game 1 because you know I'm an Aaron Nola guy. And unfortunately, this is what happened on Friday night.
1-1. Here's a swing and a high drive. Deep center. Rojas is back, and he's out of room. Dead center field for Manzardo. It's his 9th home run of the season, and it puts the Guardians on the board 1-0.
Now, I'm more pissed off with the offense that day than my guy knows, but we can get into that a little later on. Stranded so many runners, starts on, nobody gets knocked in. But I'll wait for that. Poor Nola, can't get that run support. All right, here's what else I saw. Kyle Schwarber is nasty. This guy is disgusting. Lefties, doesn't matter. When he first came here and he's popping off with 46 bombs, but it was also packaged together with a 218 batting average and 200 Ks, it wasn't giving everybody the juice they were looking for. This guy's hitting 270, and he's got 14 home runs, and he's crushing the baseball every day. He's so good. He is out of this world right now. I actually think if you're a manager of the other team, you have to contemplate putting in a righty. And then when he takes that guy to the other planets out there and hits a moonshot off them, they're going to look stupid. But if you go to a lefty, he's smacking 320 against lefties right now. Yo, Dave. Yo, John Middleton, I think it's obvious what you got to do. You got to get out in front of this, because if you wait and you play the waiting game, other teams are going to start creeping in. This thing needs to get done today. I want it done by the time this program's over at 6 a.m. All right, that 8th inning bomb to give you some added sweetener, because it's 1-0 the whole game Sunday Night Baseball, thanks to Schwarbs and Zach Wheeler. But then when you needed it just to breathe a little bit more, here's what Kyle Schwarber did.
Hit deep, center field. Martinez back at the wall, out of room, it's gone, and Schwarber has gone deep again. A 2-run home run here in the 8th inning. His 14th of the season. He's driven in all 3 tonight for the Phillies, who now lead it 3-0.
He's absurd. He's absurd. I thought it was extremely impactful when he could barely bat over 200 and do this even with all the Ks. Now you get this. You get a ridiculous batting average. You get his ability to just dominate in the middle of the order. I think this is arguably the best protection you've gotten for Bryce Harper. So when Bryce starts to turn it around and be the Bryce we need him to be, I can only imagine that this gets even gnarlier than it already is for the middle of the order. I'm saying once you get to the meat and potatoes of, your batting structure, I mean, this is going to take off. We're just scratching the surface. Last thing here, then we'll talk to the great people, 215-592-9494. Biggest takeaway from Cleveland. What stood out to you? I battled on which one I wanted to utilize in this slot. Did I want to go Ranger Suarez because that was a fantastic bounce back? Or did I want to go with Romano? And I thought to myself, man, if Jordan Romano could be a right-handed arm that is beneficial and successful for you, it just changes everything about the dynamic of this bullpen. Still work to be done, still additions that need to be made. But it really does give you something that you desperately need. And I do believe there's other internal options here. I think Taiwan's going to grow into a bullpen arm that you utilize not just because you have to, but because he's going to be decent at it. And I think one day Andrew Painter, by the end of the season, is going to be thrown into that pen as well. I just have that feeling. So there are ways to internally get better on top of the trade deadline. But getting Romano to be a reliable piece, especially when you watch Topper go to Alvarado in the 8th, and then I'm shaking in my boots, crying with nerves, wondering if it's a good idea to put Romano out there against that part of the order. But it was easy, it was simple, and it sounded like this.
Romano ready, he kicks the 3-2. Strike 3 called on the outside corner. He got him looking, and that is the ball game. The Phillies shut out the Guardians on Sunday Night Baseball, and the Phillies have won their 5th series in a row.
Now, I'm not going to tell you the umpire behind the plate was very good at his job today, but it was bad on both sides. Man, those visuals of Trey and Kyle Schwarber looking back at the GoPro cam on the ump and some of the things you were able to get away with, hey, whatever. I mean, it happens. It happens. You got to take control of whatever is handed to you. And the Phillies definitely did that. So another day talking to the beautiful people out there throughout the overnights, and another day where this team is continuing to win and making me happy. And I didn't always feel this way, but they are definitely getting me in a groove where I am thrilled, I am enjoying it, and I am having so much pleasure while watching this team play baseball. To the phones we go. What's going on, John?
Guys, I'm not falling for this, man. I can't fall for this team that, wins games by scoring 1 inning per game. I'm sorry, man. Like, you can't score when you have runners in scoring position, then you have 1 inning where you hit. It's not going to work, man. It's just like watching the Eagles going 10-2, winning with magic mirrors. The Phillies are not going to keep winning like this. You're pitching. You saw what happened when our pitching dipped a little bit. That's when we lost. Like, the pitching right now is lights out. And the Phillies are hitting in like 1 inning. 2 innings. You got Schwarber hitting 2 bombs tonight. That's the reason the Phillies won. And the pitching was solid. You can't win like that, bro. You can't. This is exactly what we watched last year, man. And that don't make me feel good.
It's hard for me to push back because I do feel similar in the I don't want to get burned mentality again, but I also jump on board when, I enjoy the team in this little spurt that they're having. So, and I was saying this a little bit last week, I'm in this weird spot where I'm trying to balance enjoying the baseball season, but also knowing that I am scarred and there's a lot of fear that I'm just going to get really hurt again by the end. So I'm sort of in a spot where I have my guard up. So anytime, if I come in here and I'm super pumped and excited and then I hear your point of view, I can't even debate you because I get it. I do. You're right. It's 1/8 inning or it's one guy in Kyle. But I guess my only thing that would make me feel optimistic is, can they survive with this level of starting pitching? I don't know. I mean, I feel great about Wheeler and Luzardo, and maybe there's something to that, but I don't know.
Well, here's what we had. We had this level of starting pitching last year, Brodes. We had this level. We were even better because Nola was better last year. Nola's a fraud, dude. I'm sorry.
Hey.
I know you like Aaron, but Nola's a fraud.
Hey.
Listen, man, he is a
Fight
fraud.
me.
Hey. I mean, he Schwarber leads the MLB in home runs. So does Aaron Nola.
Well, no, Wheeler allowed more homers than Nola did throughout his starts.
Yeah, but how many did he limit to like 1 home run?
Well, we don't have to get all technical. We don't have to get all technical now.
You have to score 7 runs to make sure Aaron Nola wins the game. Man.
We don't have to get super technical here, John.
I know. but bro, this is how I feel though. I'm watching on the first game against the Guardians, right?
Yeah.
And they walked the first 2 batters, right?
And they couldn't score.
And then Harper does something. He grounded out and moved them to second and third, but then Schwarber comes up, two balls, and then he swings at 1, 2, 3. He refuses to pass the buck. There's nothing wrong with taking those 2 balls, getting on base, and putting the bases loaded, and let the next guy take it. For some reason, Bryce and Schwarber refused to pass the buck. I mean. And that's not going to do it, man. It's not going to do it. Even in the games when they've had a good game and they've scored a run, you can look at this inning and that inning where the game should have been busted wide open early, and they're still tight. So until I see consistency, which we're not going to see from this team because they can't be consistent. The only thing that is consistent is the pitching. And that's not going to carry us all the way through the World Series as we saw last year and the year before.
You do need some offense to balance with it, for sure.
You have to put pressure on the other team's pitching. And that's the way you win games. So
that's a good way to put it. And John, thank you, man. I really appreciate you checking in, and all jokes, obviously, with the first caller of the night and whatnot. But you're right. You do have to put pressure on the other team. You can't just survive by putting all the pressure on your starters to go 8 innings or 7 innings in postseason ball of shutout baseball. There's some difficulty to that. The only thing I guess maybe I push back on the last part there about Kyle not willing to pass it off to the next guy or whatever. I'm okay with that when you're playing this well. Now, Bryce, throughout the funk and not maybe in his best form, you got to be more willing. You got to be more willing to take a little bit and, to just feel comfortable throughout his ABs. But if right now, with the way Kyle Schwarber's swinging the bat, if he's willing to go all out and live and die with the results, whether it's a strikeout or whatever, when you're doing this, by all means, I'll live with the repercussions if he fails, but I'm cool with Schwarbs taking some monster hacks at it. He's a 270 hitter with 14 bombs right now. Let's go. Lefties, doesn't matter. So I'm cool with Schwarbs, but I get it. There are times in general with the identity of this baseball team where they do try and do too much. That is definitely true. 215-592-9494. That's where we get started on this Monday morning. 215-592-9494. We're going to get back to the phones. Biggest takeaway from Cleveland. What stood out to you in this series? I really would love to get your thoughts on it. And real quick, though, when they dropped game one, they lose 6-0. And I think that is such a key factor to who this team is makeup-wise, that they're able to battle back on the road against a good opponent, just like they did against the Cubs a few series back. But I almost feel it's like a stand-up comedian, maybe, who goes up there, he's on stage, and he's dipping into his jokes, and the first joke it doesn't land. And you spend a lot of time on that joke. You workshopped it. You set it in the mirror. You practice it a bunch. And you thought you had something. And the first joke is flat. Crickets. What do? Do you shrink? Is the rest of your set screwed? Are you going to go down moping and crying and feeling sorry for yourself? Or do you nail the next joke? Do you make the people laugh? Do you knock all the other jokes out of the park because you're so pissed off? The timing is perfect on all the other executions. What are you going to do about it? Well, this is like a stand-up comedian who failed miserably joke one, but by the end, people are urinating in laughter. They can't stop laughing.
Give me 14 of them right now.
There you go. That's all joke after joke after joke. Laugh after laugh after laugh. People are in tears buying tickets for your next show before they even walk out the place. That's the Phillies. That's the Phillies. As we are reacting to another series win, the Phillies are 24-16, and they are just doing work right now. They are not stopping. And let's take a look really at Bryce Harper right now, because I think on Saturday he really showed what he is capable of doing. That home run was very, very important. They ended up exploding in the 8th inning, and with his home run to center field that went 421 feet. I mean, that was ridiculous. He had 3 hits in that game, so he was able to double, he was able to single, he was able to hit the homer. So all he needed was, well, I hate to say all he needed was the triple, but he was a triple shy, which is also a silly statement. He had 2 RBI. He's hitting, well, that was after that game. He got up to 242 on the year. It's weird for me with him because I almost feel he shows signs of better baseball. He shows signs of things looking right, but he hasn't been able to put it together for 3, 4, 5 games in a row and let it snowball. He follows up that nice game with going hitless on Sunday Night Baseball. He did walk in the 6th inning, but he struck out in the first swinging. He popped up the shortstop in the 3rd. He lined out to left in the 8th. So he was on base the one time in the 6th. We need him to not just show one night of it, not just have something really look good for a night at the office. It needs to somehow become that home run game now is followed up by a home run game, which is followed up by a 2-hit night. Even if it's 2 singles, fine. Homer, 2-hit night, followed by another 2-hit night. Followed by, I don't care if it's a 1 for 4, but it was a double that knocked in 3 runs. It needs to become something that you can grab onto as he carries the emotional lead here. And I guess the argument could be made, if they're doing it now without him popping off, what's it going to look like when he's cooking? But at the same time, you know how this goes. There'll probably be a 2-week span where Trey cools off, where he's not hitting 5,000 with his singles, and then Bryce will start to do good. And maybe Kyle cools off a little bit where he's not hitting 270, and maybe his average dips to 240-something, still with the power. But as he dips 30-something points, Bryce Harper goes up 30-something points or something like that. I'm going extreme here, but just giving you a bit of maybe what is going to transpire over the next few weeks. I just don't know how long Bryce Harper can stay this down. How long Bryce Harper could be this blah and this Saturday was awesome. Saturday was awesome, really. When he starts to show up and he starts to do something that's magnificent when I'm desperately waiting, there's real pure energy from me jumping off my couch going, let's go. Like, I'm fist pumping, I'm screaming, I'm getting stoked, a couple of claps. The dogs start to bark because they were sleeping, yet I jump up off the couch and they start going nuts. They're thinking, what the hell is he doing? Well, I'm celebrating a Bryce bomb, okay? Because Bryce bombs hit different than every other bomb outside of a Schwarber bomb. So let's go. And then Sunday he goes hitless. So I need this to start turning into gear here. 237? You're telling me May 12th, 237? That's nuts. That's ludicrous. He's too good for this. He's way too good for this. And he's got the best protection he's had maybe ever. Now, Rhys Hoskins I enjoyed. And I thought he put together strong ABs. But protection-wise, he also had what? He started, Rhys batted 2. I wonder how many, I'd have to go back and look at the numbers and whatnot. But with Bryce now having Kyle this red hot, and with Trey in front of him this red hot, I mean, this is the time. This is the moment. This is when you got to start going. So I can't believe we're still here. But we're still here. The only blessing, I guess, would be it just can't continue that long, no? It can't continue even into June, can it? It can't keep going that deep into the season, will it? On Friday, he went 0 for 2. So in 2 out of these 3 games, he's going hitless. It's crazy. It's unbelievable. All right, there's that. Then here's the next wave to get into as well with this group. I'm trying to figure out, and I feel the answer is majority of people will say, let's get it done now. But some may feel that because it is a contract year, that's what's forcing Kyle to be as sensational as he is. Would you sign Kyle Schwarber to a contract extension today? Today? Would you do it, Alex? Would you get it done today? Put pen to paper if you could, if you were Dave Dombrowski.
I would, but I bet you he'd go in a 2-week slump after I did. But I would, though, because if he ends up getting MVP, he is, betting favorite. He's up there with the MVPs right now in the NL. And if he makes an all-star team and then, I don't know, does a home run derby, wins it, that price just keeps going up. So if you're going to keep him, just give him what he wants now. He wants to stay here anyway. He loves Philadelphia. So, yeah, I'd keep him happy and just get that out of the way. I don't think we should be talking about it anymore, honestly.
All right, so here's Jeff Passan on ESPN who put out a piece. It said, a DH who's going to be 33 next opening day getting a 9-figure deal. Schwarber is an outlier in so many other respects, so why not here too? He is terminally productive. He is an exceptional clubhouse leader. Nobody would blink at giving him $25 million a year and a 4-year ask, particularly a class weak on high-end bats. It's eminently reasonable. So what do you think about that? Given that Schwarber has played less than 75 innings in left field since the start of the 2024 season, he obviously talked about maybe playing some more in the field this year. I think that was to help his value. Obviously it's not my money. I see 4 years, 100 based off of some of the numbers thrown around these days.
That should be it.
It seems like a little bit of a trunk change here. You know what I mean?
Hey.
A little bit of, hey, I accidentally found a couple quarters in the couch. Let's go pay Kyle Schwarber some money.
I don't want to see this team without him in the lineup.
I know.
I'll tell you that.
I know.
I wouldn't
I know.
even.
I know.
I'd be a lot less of a happy team to root for. I feel like.
Do you think there are people out there that would be willing to play the gamble game and see if they just ask him to continue this hot run, knowing that he's playing for a contract, and then when the year is over, considering, as you mentioned, he likes Philadelphia, things are looking well, you're playing with Bryce and Trey, and you got a chance to compete nonstop, and would you take the gamble to make sure he stays locked in this high level of a hitter, and then you just pay him what you're looking for when the season ends?
Yeah, 100%, because if you let him walk anyway, it opens up, obviously, DH, which can allow you to get more bats in your lineup no matter what, especially another person in the field, which might help some of those holes, but at the same time, I mean...
But then you got to replace Kyle.
I know. Then you got to replace... You're now counting on two people to replace a bat that is putting up... I mean, this guy's gotten better every season he's been here, and his numbers are just getting so much better, along with the less strikeouts, along with the batting average, like you started the show with, 270. Like, this guy is... He's a treat. A treat is what we would like to say.
That's a good way to put it.
Him being here is a real treat.
Yeah.
And I don't want him leaving. There's no reason why he doesn't just finish his career here. Honestly, he's up there. Him, Wheeler, they should be going out around the same time, 3-4 years, 2 years down the line. So yeah, I mean they're getting better as they age, and that's the type of players that I want when you're in a window kind of open or closed opportunity. I want guys like Schwarber. I want guys like Wheeler who are aging well. Not aging backwards like a lot of the players that we see.
I like that, though. He's a treat to watch, that's for sure. Now, if you remember, Ken Rosenthal a bit ago mentioned that Kyle Schwarber and Dave Dombrowski, they were discussing about the contract negotiations, and it, quote, failed to advance after an initial proposal. So, obviously...
About years. Something with years. That's what I saw, too. I saw some people saying that the conversation is the roadblock here is the years. They don't know how to I guess it's
listen.
I don't think he's or shorter.
No.
Do you think he wants a longer deal, or does he want a quick one and then?
Well, the money's not going to go.
I know
up for him at this age. You're not going to want to cash in on a. You're not. It's not one of those things where let's survive one more year so I could cash in on a different contract. It's got to be he's asking for length. And they're not willing to give him money. See, he's someone who I think his play translates to older age.
Right.
Like JT doesn't. Some of these guys won't. But physically, when you're a DH and you're Kyle Schwarber.
Dude, it's brute power.
Yeah,
like
I think that's just raw natural ability that isn't just going to go away.
And he's a DH.
Exactly.
All he does.
The years, unless he's asking for 6. If he's asking for 6 years and wants to be signed to 39,
I'm thinking he wants like 4 or 5 and then wants to retire. But I'm thinking the Phillies. I'm thinking the Phillies don't want to keep the window open because if they don't want to win it in the next 2 years, they might want to rehaul this entire lineup. Are you gonna bring up Crawford, Miller, and then have Kyle Schwarber still in your lineup?
How can you do that? How can you revamp in 2 years? You got Trey signed till 3050 and Bryce.
You'd revamp honestly with your prospects: Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, and Luzardo. And Noah. That's who you'd revamp with. Everyone else is on a one-way ticket out of here. At 2-3 years down the line, I mean, Boom's not gonna. If he doesn't change his trajectory, he wouldn't be here in 2-3 years. I mean,
okay, so Stott, Trey, and Bryce and Trey and Bryce are going to be 36.
You'd have Nick, Trey, and Bryce. I mean, Trey, his contract doesn't. Allow you to move at all. Luzardo is probably showing you that he's going to be the core of your next pitching group as Aaron Nola slowly fades away. Zach Wheeler said he's retiring at the end of his contract. Kyle Schwarber translate into better age baseball, like you said. So you're gonna have Bryce, Trey, Luzardo, Schwarbs, and probably Casty. Everyone else is gone.
Well, that would be fraudulent by John Middleton because John Middleton once said that you got to strike when the iron's hot. And the iron would be hot. In their eyes, they view it as hot. Forget what you think out there. They think it's hot. So if not signing Kyle Schwarber would be because in 5 years you want to revamp, then you're not, quote, striking when the iron's hot and you're limiting this baseball team, and that would be a disgrace.